But first, we saw the most hurtful and chronic face of this deep recession today with the loss of 6,000 jobs in Qantas. That's 1 in 5 jobs gone, and 50% of its entire workforce now stood down. Imagine if that ratio was replicated in the general workforce. Now, we're only talking about a probable unemployment rate of around 11, maybe 12%, which is bad. But for Qantas, add those decisions together today and you get closer to 65%. It tells us that in aviation, even with some routes still running domestically, this is their depression, not a recession. It's a depression. And we got clear indications today that the mystery of whether JobKeeper will be extended is not much of a mystery for that sector anymore. First, that came from the Qantas CEO.
For many of our people on stand down, JobKeeper has made all the difference. We have had good discussions with the government about possibly extending JobKeeper or some other form of support for those in the aviation industry who will be stood down for an extended period. And I had a conversation with the Prime Minister and the Treasurer last night about that exact issue.
And the same kind of indication from the PM.
I was very clear last night that we know that those sectors that continue to be significantly affected will need continued support. And so we're just working through the best way to target and deliver that support. As he said today, whether it's through JobKeeper or other measures, what matters is actually an understanding that that's the problem. We know that's the challenge.
Let's get real about this. There is no hiding the fact that it's the pause on most international travel that has caused the Qantas crisis. But you cannot underestimate the impact closed state borders are having on the airline as well. Now, with National Cabinet meeting tomorrow, the Prime Minister wouldn't be lured today into making that link. He was very diplomatic. But the Deputy PM and Transport Minister, Michael McCormack, was not so diplomatic.
But again, I state that the Premiers can also help this process by lifting those border restrictions. They're not necessary, they're costing jobs and they're costing planes being in the air.
He is dead right. Those state leaders are using the virus to play politics and seek eradication for the safety of their voters and to ensure their vote, in particular Queensland, because Anastasia Palaszczuk goes to the polls before the end of the year. And business to them can go to hell. Meanwhile, the unions were laying into Qantas for not waiting for a decision on JobKeeper.
Alan Joyce did not have to make this announcement today because we still don't know what the Morrison government intends to do about the JobKeeper program. And this is the problem, because they have prematurely decided to sack 6,000 workers, when if there was a proper program of assistance, if we knew that JobKeeper was going to be extended, then of course that's a better outcome.
They obviously didn't listen closely to what Alan Joyce said early today. Qantas explained this. These 6,000 jobs can't be propped up for when international routes reopen, because even if that happens at the end or in the middle of next year sometime, there'll still be no work for those 6,000 people. It's only when it returns to absolute normal, maybe in 3 years or 4 years' time, that some of them might be able to get their job back. That's how chronic it is for Qantas. You can't keep people on free wages for 4 years. It's a numbskull argument. Meanwhile, for the record, the Greens had a very simple socialist solution for Alan Joyce.
I think we need to have an open and active discussion about public ownership of Qantas International. I don't want us to become an island country without a fully functioning airline.
Yes, when in doubt and things go bunk, all you do is throw the government in. They can own it, they can run it, they can pay for it, they can pay for its losses and debts. Maybe we should restart car manufacturing as well, Adam Bant. And we can just rely on the taxpayer to subsidise these new cars and everyone else's holidays abroad. He's a dope. He's a dead-set dope. In good times, Alan Joyce and Qantas have proven how efficient and profitable they both can be. It was a great airline. Sadly, we are far from those good times. And the focus needs to turn to those 15,000 people who will remain stood down, who can hopefully go back to work when the world starts to recover, maybe in the middle of next year. But this is the pointy end of an industry ravaged by this virus. And our thoughts go out tonight to those hammered by today's news.